Good morning. Can you hear me? Yeah, I think I'm audible now.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, you are.
Good.
Yes, we can hear you.
Good morning, ma'am.
Building our capacity to maneuver MS Word and Google Docs. Good morning. Can you hear me? We started, yeah, I think I'm audible now.
Good morning, ma'am.
Started last
Yes, you are.
Wednesday.
Yes, we can hear you.
And last week, Wednesday, we looked at a couple of things around
Good morning, ma'am.
documents and how the functions on Microsoft Word support us to align, justify, edit, and do a couple of other things. Capacity. Today we'll be going straight into maneuver at margins, page setup, tables, and columns. Now, this morning, can you hear me? We started, recorded. Yeah, I think I'm audible now. And it is
Morning, ma'am.
started last
Yes, you are.
Wednesday.
Yes, we can hear
It's
you.
also on last week Wednesday we looked at to check a couple of things around
Good morning, ma'am.
you could connect documents, Maduka's and how on YouTube the functions Maduka's Masterclass on Microsoft Word your invitation, message or align, justify definitely carries the YouTube link and do a couple of other things. Be certain they will be going straight into go and connect with that margins, page my sound is echoing. Columns. Apologies. Now this morning, can you hear me? We started. I'll take one. Yeah, I think I'm audible now. And it is
Morning, ma'am.
also.
Yes, you are.
Yes, we can hear
It's
you.
also on last week Wednesday we looked at there to check now a couple of things. Okay, I can see that
Good morning,
my
ma'am.
audio is playing back. So let me go and manage Maduka's that. How on YouTube the functions Maduka's Masterclass. Beautiful. All right. Okay. Thank you. I think this may be better now, and I'm just probably the only one speaking now. The other devices are not echoing. Please confirm in the chat box. I'm audible and I'm visible, and you're comfortable with the sound that you're getting. Oh, great. All right. All right. So good. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I'll increase max my audio. Yeah. Good. All right. Let's just push. Let's just push. So today's masterclass, we'll be looking at demonstrating page margins, page setup, and then we'll go into setting up tables and columns and how to maneuver that. Some of these things are things that you may pick up one or two tricks along the way. You may be familiar, so it will just be a refresher. But some of you may be seeing some of these things for the first time. I will encourage you to practice. So if you're connected on a device, it'll be a good idea to be on your laptop as well. So maybe you're connected on your mobile phone or something. It'd be a good idea for you to have a laptop, or maybe even two laptops, or a tab and a laptop, so that as you are seeing me share screen and demonstrate, you are able to practice alongside. I think that's the best way to gain skill and competence. And like I said, this class is on YouTube, live on YouTube, and then after you can go and then maybe watch it. So because we are on YouTube, we will not be sending out the video recordings afterwards. At some point, maybe if we have slides, we'll send out. But because these are demonstration classes, you may not be getting slides for these particular types of sessions. All right, let's go there. Let's go there. So I'm sharing. I just want to share a Word document so that I can show you what I am talking about. All right, let's start with a blank. Let's start with a blank. I believe this is visible. I want to increase it so that we can see. Great. Please communicate with me in the chat. I've actually muted everyone, so you may not be able to unmute so that we don't have distractions. But you send me chats, I'm likely to see, especially if something is going wrong. All right. So I think last class, I tried to show us page margins. I tried to show us a typical Word document. A typical Word document will have what you call rulers at the top and at the side. So if you follow where my cursor is, you will see what we call a ruler. And what we call a ruler, you'll see it from this indent. This is called an indent, a first line indent, and a left and right indent. You can see that. This is an indent, and then above is a first line indent, which just says all your sentences will start from here. So you typically we would fix the indents. It comes with the Microsoft software. I'm using Office 365, and I made a point last week to remind us that you may have a different version, and so it may be a little bit different. By and large, they are basically the same, but it may be a little bit different. But I want to encourage you, if you have an older MS Word version, I want to encourage you to please upgrade to a newer version, 2019 Office 365, so that you can benefit from some of the newer versions that are easier to use. Somebody's asking for the YouTube link channel. YouTube channel is Maduka's Masterclass. If you just click on type Maduka's Masterclass into YouTube, you should be able to find the channel. Please subscribe so that you can be getting notifications for new videos, and some of the older videos are up there as well. All right, so let's make progress. So you'll have a page that has a ruler. If you can see, you're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then here you see some part of the page that is not ruled. Some part of the page that is not ruled. This is, if you look at it carefully, this is about 1 inch. This is about 1 inch. So typically this is what forms your page margin. Your page margins are typically for a normal page margin, 1 inch on every side. This is your ruler for the side, your side ruler. And if you take it up, you'll see all the way to the bottom, all the way to the bottom. But you'll also see that there is a part of it that the ruler does not cover, which is your upper and lower page margin, and then you have your left and your right page margin. If you want to adjust this margin for whatever reason, typically if we're working with Word documents, you're typing a technical report or any sort of report, an academic writing, we advise you to keep your page margin at 1 inch top, bottom, left, and right, what we call normal. 1 inch top, bottom, left, and right. Now, you could change it to a narrow page margin. A narrow page, if for whatever reason you want more information contained on a page, you can change it just by clicking narrow. I believe everybody can see the screen and see narrow. You can do moderate, where the top and the bottom are 1 inch, while the left and the right are 0.75 inches. Or you could do wide, where the top and the bottom are 1 inch, but the left and the right are 2 inches each. There are different reasons why, but I can tell you that the most common one we use is the normal page margin. This is the reason why when you start typing, it starts here. It doesn't go and start here. And even when you click on enter for the next line, it continues exactly under where the first line started. Very important. But you can now do what we call indentation. You can do an indentation. If, for example, you want the first line indent. So remember, this one is a first line indent. You want the first line indent to move in. You go to home. I'm in home. So before I was in layout. So margins is in layout. Adjusting your margins is in layout. Now I've gone back to home. And in home, if you look at the icons, you would see what we call a decrease or increase indent. All right, this is indent. So what just simply moves your paragraph further away. So remember, for you to change the indent, especially the first line indent, your cursor needs to be in front. So wherever your cursor is, that is the text out after it is what will move. So put your cursor in front of the sentence that you want to move, and you click on the indent, and you can see it has moved 0.5 inches, which is typically what would happen. It has moved 0.5 inches. So that's if that's what you want. And you can decide it's only the first letter or the first sentence I want to move. The other ones, I want them to go back. All you have to do when you click on enter is to touch the backspace. Click on the backspace and it goes to the original position. If you want to undo, one of these days we're going to learn about the different shortcuts. Undo is Control Z. Control Z is undo, but that's not what we're talking about today. You can still use your backspace and undo. So that's about layouts and about indents. Let's go back to layouts. I want to show us something. Now, one of the things that gives some people a bit of headache when they are trying to write out an official document is what we call orientation. Orientation. If I click the small arrow, mind you, I'm back in layout. And we're looking at what orientation is and what it does. So you change your page orientation from portrait to landscape. In portrait, what you have is that the width, this is width from one end to the other. The width is smaller than the height. Height is from top to bottom. The width is smaller than the height. I'll show you when we look at page size. When we look at page size, I can easily show that to you. So you see 8.27 inches is the width from one end to the other, while 11.69 inches is the height from top to bottom. So when you have a portrait view, the width is smaller than the height. The longest part of the document or whatever it is your height in a portrait view. But in a landscape view, I'm going to change it from portrait. You can see it for portrait. I'm going to change it to landscape. In a landscape view, it changes. Let's reduce the size so that you can see. It changes such that the width from left to right is now the widest, while the height from top to bottom is now the shortest. So that's what happens. So what you have in a landscape view is that it is 11.69 inches by 8.27. We usually will call the width first, 11.69 inches by 8.27. So you see that it's different. Now, why would you want to use landscape? What would the reasons be? For example, some of you who have written projects, reports, research reports, or you're writing a technical report that requires you to do some tables or some sort of graphs or diagrams, you will find out that a portrait view may make it difficult for your table to fit and make sense. It now be kind of really small. So what you want to do is that you want that particular page to be converted to a landscape view so that it takes the table a whole lot easier. Now let me use this to demonstrate. I hope you can all see it. Now this, let's see. All right, let's look at the layout. I can't edit this document. Okay, so let's save it first. 1 second so that we can work with it. Give me a few seconds. Let's put it in a format that we can work with. Let's put it in downloads. Makes it easier. Okay. All right, fine. Beautiful. Now let's look at the orientation, the current orientation of this page. The current orientation of this page. 1 second. Let's go back. So this is landscape. This is landscape. And the reason it is landscape is because I am trying to do something, wide. I'm trying to represent 5 weeks, 5 days of the week. I'm trying to do something large, okay? So it's affecting. It's not going to be it's not going to be very easy. So let me change it to portrait and show you what it looks like. All right. I'll take it to portrait and show you what it looks like. So in portrait, it just may be looking very funny. You see that this is really tiny now for it to fit in. All right, but I think it would look much better as a landscape document. So you see that the entire thing it's together, is looking finer, and so on and so forth. So that's easy to do, especially if you get to the point where you are showing tables and you want to convert from portrait to landscape. However, what if you are doing a document? The whole document cannot be landscape. So you would like to like start out with something that is portrait, all right? And then what if you want to now add in a something that is landscape? So let's look for a document like this. Okay, so assuming you are typing this, and then you get to a point where you now, okay, so this next page now needs to, I now need to put in a table, and it would be good for it to be landscape. How do I do that and still come back and continue with my portrait? So only one document is, only one page is landscape. I want the others to be portrait. So please just pay attention to what you would need to do. So go back to layout, and instead of just clicking on orientation to change the page orientation, this page setup in layout, go and click on the arrow down button that gives you a wider range of options for page setup. So my cursor is there. Please, you can see where my cursor is. So you go there and click on the arrow down button that opens up this page setup, which is what I'm trying to do, and gives you a wider set of options. So this is what we are interested in. This is what we are interested in. All right. So instead of portrait, let's click on landscape. Let's click on landscape, and let's come here and click on, instead of, it is automatically will be in this section. But let's click on this point forward. This point forward, and let's do an OK. What that means is that whatever was before your cursor, and please, it's very important where your cursor is. If your cursor is here, it's going to take the text into the portrait layout. So make sure your cursor is below the text. So it will tell you this point forward. It would leave the earlier documents as portrait, and the very next one would be landscape. So let me come in and just copy. Yes, come in and just copy. Control A, by the way, is the shortcut for selecting all, while Control C is the shortcut for copy. Just some tips for those of anybody who didn't really know. All right. Then you put your cursor where it is, and Control V is the shortcut for paste. So I have copied and I have pasted. So you can see that from this point onwards, you see that it entered into another page, and that page is also landscape. That page is also landscape. So what I want to do is that I want to go back and continue writing, and I want it to continue as portrait. So I put my cursor at the very last point. All right, I put my cursor under the table, and I go back and do exactly what I did before. Click on the arrow down button that gives me a wider range of options for page setup. And then I go to portrait, and I click on it and say this point forward. This point forward. Okay. So this is exactly what I'm going to now see. So it is portrait. It goes to landscape for the particular page I'm interested in, and then it continues as portrait. Yeah. So that's exactly what that looks like. That's exactly what that looks like. pretty straightforward. Pretty straightforward. Let me see if any of us have any questions. Yeah, somebody's asking about the ruler. Where did I get the ruler? So maybe you open up and you did not see a ruler. Maybe you opened up your document and you did not see a ruler. What do? Your ruler should be on view. If you're using the version from 2019 up down to 2021 to 2023 to Office 365. If you click on view, what do you get? View. See at the top, file, home, insert, draw, design, layout, references, mailings, review, view. If you look at that, you'll see here ruler. So if I uncheck it, my ruler is gone. If I check it, my ruler is back. My ruler is back. If I check it or uncheck it. All right, my ruler is gone, my ruler is back. So you can just go there and try that out. All right. So we've done that. I want to show us one more thing in layout. I want to show us one more thing in layout, and to show us, let me get back to here. Now, assuming that for whatever reason you do not want to type the way this is showing, where everything is only on one column. This is what we call a column. The way the write-up is from top to bottom is a column. Now, I actually would like this to be in 2 columns. So depending on what you're writing, for academic writing, we don't use more than 1 column. I need to stress that. For academic writing, you'll never see a situation where maybe for your thesis or your dissertation, they say you should, no, not at all. However, it is very possible that you, maybe you want to write for a journal article, and in journal articles, you would see multiple columns being used. How do you do that? You go to layout, you click on columns. You go to layout, you click on columns, and you change to 2. Just as simple. If you want 3, as many as you want, but let's do 2. Let's see. When you do 2, it automatically changes it to 2 columns. So you remember when you read magazines or newsletter, we like to work in columns. So it's only what you highlight that converts to columns. On the other hand, you can set it as columns ahead of time, and as you're typing, it's going to change that for you. So this is what it is. Now, if you say, okay, for when we're talking about magazines, newspapers, article, journal publications, we often don't use these large margins. So let me go and see if I could just adjust the margins to narrow. Adjust the margins to narrow. The columns take up into a particular page. All right. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just show that one. I just show that one more time. I'll just show that one more time so that I can show you what to do, how to insert tables, and we'll start to wrap up. All right, so let's undo. Okay, so I want to convert my document to what I've written. I want it in 2 columns. I want it in 2 columns. So you see that I have highlighted the document. So it's only what you highlight that gets converted. If you notice, when I did the earlier one I didn't include the title, the heading. I didn't include the heading. If you want to include the heading, you can. And if you include the heading too will enter a column. But oftentimes you want the heading to apply to both columns, so you really don't have any need to include the heading. So I'm highlighting what I'm interested in. and I go to layout, right? Assuming I'm in home, I go to layout, I click the arrow down, the small arrow under columns, and one is typically highlighted because this is taken as one column, what you're seeing on my screen. But I want it to be 2 columns, so I've clicked on that. I want it to be 2 columns. So I clicked on that. So you see that there is half an inch between the 2 columns, and there's 1 inch by the side. And I said, okay, look, usually, typically when you're doing magazines or newsletters or any educational materials, stories, novels, you may not want to deal with this type of wide page margin that is for academic and technical writing. So you want to go maybe narrow. I've shown you what to do with page margins before, and now you may want to narrow it so that it actually takes up some less space, and you can put more in. You may not want, this may be what you want to do. And that works. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. Now let me show you how to insert a table. I'm going to open a brand new sheet. I'm going to open a brand new sheet and make sure we're dealing with 1 column. Let me show you how to insert a table. You click on insert. So file, home, insert. You click on insert, and this is table. This is table. All right. So when you click on table, you can decide, okay, for me, I'm going to pick how many rows and how many columns. So give it some thought. If, for example, it is morning, afternoon, evenings, like maybe like a timetable, you want to show the training timetable for the days, you have to give some thought to are the days going to be on the columns, or are they going to be on the rows? And then the time separations will now be on the columns. That's a good way to do a table. So you would think about it, okay, so how many days is this training? It's 3. If it's a 3-day training, you would need a minimum of 4 rows, because the first row will be a title row. All right. If it's a 3-day and then it is morning and tea break and morning lunch and afternoon session. So morning session, a lunch and an afternoon session. It means you would need to do, so that's 3. You will need to do a minimum of 4 columns. So 4 by 4. The reason for that is that your first column and your first row will carry titles. Your first column and your first row will carry titles. So you set it in like that. That's one way. I'll show you another way. Excuse me. Is to still go to insert. Click on the small arrow down button for table. But instead of highlighting cells, you just click on insert table and you type the number of and I want 4 rows, and I say okay. It's done exactly the same thing, right? I'm just trying to check for messages to see what people are asking. Remember, you can go to the YouTube channel. It's live streaming on YouTube. You can go to the YouTube channel and pick up some learning from there. Pick up the exact videos will be there, and you could go play them back. All right, so let's label. Let's label date. And then this is morning, break, and this is afternoon. So you might just session. And this is date. So this is Monday, 1st October, Tuesday, 2nd October, and Wednesday, 3rd October. Morning session, biology, physics, chemistry, break. Then afternoon session is maths, English. I did this break deliberately because I want to show you something. English. Free. Sergeant is a free period. All right. So let me show you two things. One, if I want to widen the space within each cell, so this space is called a cell. In a table, the space inside is called a cell. So if I want to widen the space in each cell, what I need to do is to bring my cursor to this. I'm sure we can all see this small box at the end of the cell. Now, if I click outside, the box disappears. But if I come and click here on this box that has something like a cross sign, it means I'm clicking on this. By clicking on this box with a cross sign, I'm highlighting the entire table. This is just a trick rather than coming to highlight, right? And then I bring my cursor. As I bring my cursor to this box, it's going to arrange my cursor like an sideways arrow, sort of. All I need to do is hold on it and drag it down. Drag it down. So you see that I have successfully dragged down, made the spaces larger without moving the position of the text. I can decide to drag back up as much as possible. Now I can merge cells in a table in Word document. If we were doing Excel, I'd have shown you a bit of a different way, but I can merge cells. This is Word. Let me show you. I can merge cells in a particular column, a particular row, as long as those cells are adjacent. For you to merge cells, they must connect with each other. You cannot merge this cell that says Monday 1st and this cell that says chemistry. You cannot do that. But you can merge these two cells. You can merge these ones. Any cell that is together, you can merge. So highlight the cell, and then you can either right click and click on merge cells. Highlight, right click, merge. Or highlight, or highlight, if where merge is here now. Okay, let's leave it like that for now. If I find where the merge icon is, there's somewhere here where there's a merge icon. Yeah, I think I've seen it. You can do that as well by clicking on an icon. But basically, you just right click and you click on merge. And that sorts that out. Now, you can also split a table, a cell into two or more. So you see my cursor, I have clicked and highlighted the cell. Right click and split. So you decide columns and rows. Let's assume that I want to split into 2 columns, leave it as 1 row. Okay, it has split for me as well. Quite neat and quite nicely. Then you can insert. You can insert a cell above. Insert either columns or rows, and you can decide whether it's left, right if it's columns, or above and below if it is rows. So let's insert a row above. So there's a new row. You can decide it's not a row you want, is a cell, just a single cell. Insert cells. It's asking you whether you want to shift it left, right, up, or down. Or it's even saying, why don't you just insert an entire row or an entire column? So I've just inserted just a cell. What if it's a column? Column to the right. Or insert column to the left. It's up to you what you actually want to do, depending on your needs. All right. Now I've inserted a column to the right, but it has taken my table outside of the page margins. You can see that. So the last thing I want to show you, a couple of questions, is the fact that you can rearrange this table. And there are a number of ways to do it, but one of the easiest ways to do it automatically is to just click this arrow, this cross I said that helps you highlight the entire table. You right click, you click on auto fit, and auto fit to window, auto fit to window, and you click on that. And what it does is that it just brings it back within the page margins. All right. So the size of the cells are automatically adjusted to be smaller. Another thing you can do when you click on this, you see that you can still come, even though it's outside of the page, you can still come and see this other box, and you see the arrow here, and it can help you navigate back. You just drag it back and it comes back and fits. You bring it back to exactly where you want it to stay and fit, so that you don't have unwieldy tables that are difficult to manage. I'm sure we will have a lot more opportunities to talk about tables. Let's see. All right, so definitely the video is there on YouTube. Go back, look at it, practice, watch it, repeat. A lot of things you the YouTube. Let me stop sharing. Let's see whether we can take your questions. Yeah, so I'm not sure I understand what Aleruchi you mean by arrange the margin in our reference list. A margin in our reference list. How do you, so if you have a list of references, even if you have a list of whatever, let me see if I can get a list for you and show you. All right, let's see if we could share screen and see this one. I'll just show it very quickly. We've gone past our time. My apologies. Maybe in the next 2 or 3 minutes we should be able to get done, but I just want to show this. All right, so if you're doing a reference list, I think this is something I can show in another class. If you're doing a reference list, once you do an automated numbering, it all aligns, indents As you can see, it has indented and it aligns. So, but if, for example, I'm saying I'm doing this, the second one may not automatically align and indent because I have not set it up to do so. So what you do to set up to automatically indent is that you type your number or your bullet point number 1 and you enter the space bar. So reference number 1, your full stop, once you touch the space bar, it indents automatically. Now, if you don't do that, another way you can do it is to highlight your number, whatever you have written, and come to numbering and click on it. So it actually gives you a number. It gives you a number. All right, so feel free to practice with this. Next time we will look at something else. We'll look at a couple of shortcuts for ease of access. And then we will also, if we have time, we may also get into some editing, review and editing functions on Microsoft Word. All right. Thank you. All right. So the link for the registration to Maduka's Masterclass is the same. The same Zoom link you used today. Save it and keep using it. I will not change the Zoom link. The Zoom link will be the same. So you don't need to keep registering. You will not need to keep registering the same. So that the link you used last week is the same link you used this week. I'm talking about the Zoom link. The Zoom link. So once you register on Zoom once, just set up a reminder so that you can use the same link and keep joining the class. Thank you to all my friends and colleagues who are here. I see you all, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Very productive day, I may add. Bye-bye. Don't forget to go to our YouTube channel, Maduka's Masterclass. Please subscribe. You can watch all our past videos as well. Bye, everyone. Bye.